Hi everyone, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I want to do a quick video talking about the deck list I played at the recent Vector Sigma Titan 1 April event, which was a lot of fun. I'm glad that I'm able to find time in my schedule to get back into that side of organized play for the Transformers TCG. I know for the past couple months I've been on-off in terms of sharing matches and stuff, but I wanted to hop back in, and I didn't have a ton of time to deck build, so I asked my friend Christian at BluevsOrange TCG, who's doing an awesome video series right now on Snapdragon, which you guys should check out. There's a link in the video description below. But I asked him, hey, can you just send me an Overlord playlist, and I'll figure it out as I go. And he did, and I kind of did. And here is the deck list that he sent me to play and what I played. And here's just kind of my thoughts on it and how the breakdown happened. So, starting out, here's our default lineup. We've got Overlord as our big 14-star, big hitter, big boy. Nightracer and Highbrow backing him up. And the synergy between them is pretty great. So we fill out 25 stars here. Overlord, his thing is that he lets my battle card deck have 3 extra stars worth of battle cards, as long as they're differently named cards. So what I have supporting Overlord are Aura of Dominance, Leap of Faith, and Bolt of Lightning, which are really, to me, just those. This is just one of those like good stuff deck list things. These, to me, are some of the strongest star cards in the game, so Overlord just lets me put them in my deck list for free, which I really, really like. His big thing is when I flip from bot mode back to alt mode, I get to mill the top 5 cards of my deck list, and if I pull any of these, they go in my hand, which is awesome. When he's in robot mode and he attacks, then if I flip any of these cards, I get to play them like an Optimus Prime Battlefield effect. I think Overlord is such a fun character, and he lets you do a lot of cool things in your deck list to get the most out of what he does. We'll go into that once I get into the battle cards more. So he's here, he's big, and he swings. His other thing is when he's in bot mode, he gets +1 for each character in the KO area. So if you pilot it right and Highbrow and Nightracer die first, he's at least a 7, plus you get the +1 for whatever characters your opponent has, which is awesome. Highbrow and Nightracer are here as stats and support. Nightracer for 5 stars. You can't really get much better than her. I do have secret actions in the deck list, so giving tough 1 in a blue deck list does help Highbrow and Overlord and Nightracer survive longer. Highbrow's thing in robot mode, again, he gives Overlord +1 defense, and then if somehow Overlord dies before Highbrow does, then Highbrow gets himself +1 defense. His other big thing, and this is what works really well, is Highbrow gets to, if I flip to alt mode, he gets to bounce a card, an equipment, that I target back into my hand. And here is the first bit of deck tech, which is a ton of fun to do. So let's say you've got Aura of Dominance on Overlord here. Highbrow is supporting Overlord. You flip Highbrow, you send the Aura of Dominance back in your hand, and you play it again. If you don't know what Aura of Dominance does, when you put this on a character with 11 stars or more, your opponent scraps a card from his hand, and your opponent chooses one of their upgrades and scraps it. So being able to cycle this every couple turns can be very, very strong if your opponent doesn't have a way to deal with it. And that's pretty much it. Nightracer doesn't really flip. You're mostly flipping. You flip Highbrow turn 1 likely, and then you flip Overlord back and forth to find your star cards, and then get the KO benefit and attack and flip star cards. You probably already know what these 3 do. Bolt of Lightning is just 3 damage to an enemy, which is awesome. Leap of Faith lets you scrap the top card of your deck and play it, and then scrap the second card off the top of your deck and play it. So these are just getting, value out of the battle cards that we have, and we'll talk about those next. We'll do Sideboard at the end. So the next thing is our there we go. That's all our, I think I pulled all the, there we go. Okay, so these are our battle cards. These are all the actions that we're playing. The first 3, I think, are standard in any blue list, the bigger they are. Highbrow and Nightracer tend to be attacking at bots that are bigger than them. Bigger they are, make sure that their attack counts. hitting for at least Pierce 4 each time. Escape Route has 2 targets in this deck. Overlord getting to, if he's in bot mode, flipping, getting to mill 5 cards, and then still being able to flip him back and attack if you can't find, one of the 3 star cards that you're looking for. Escape Route is a great way to help Overlord get those star cards in your hand. You can also use it on Highbrow again. If, let's say, you know that Overlord's going to attack this turn, Escape Route Highbrow, bounce an upgrade from your opponent's hand or one back into your hand, whatever you want to do, and then still flip him back to get the defense boost as needed. Espionage, we're generating hand advantage with cards like Aura of Dominance. Espionage helps keep that momentum going and target problematic cards for us, like Belligerence, Catch Off Guard, that sort of thing, whatever we might need to not deal with on our next turn. Marksmanship is an easy one. We've got 2 ranged characters. Overlord tends to live until the end anyway, just with how big he is at 18 health, and then Aura of Dominance or Energy Pack giving him more health. So Marksmanship, just being able to ping someone for 2 also is very, very helpful. Smelt, so this battle card list, if you look at the link below, you'll see the list in Teletran 1. This list has 41 cards. I think Smelt is a card that I would choose to drop. I haven't played it in this event at all. Generally, by the time I got it in hand, if I was dealing with something like a Jetfire or a Megatron Living Weapon with a Stratagem, like those cards, Smelt doesn't do much. Highbrow being able to bounce something or Catch Off Guard I found is more valuable. I think to get this down to 40 cards, Smelt is the first thing I'd consider dropping. 2-pronged attacks are amazing in this deck. It's a little splash of orange, but if you notice, Overlord is a tank and a plane in both modes. This was something very intentional, especially with what they did in Wave 5, where they introduced bot modes with like a plane mode. Overlord having this ability and just getting you max value out of a 2-pronged attack is wonderful. Again, cards like Espionage and Aura of Dominance are scrapping cards. Marksmanship is pinging 2. This is essentially Aura of Dominance and Marksmanship put together. I think that there's no way you're not playing 2-pronged attack with Overlord. That's just kind of how he was built by the ATP, which I think is what makes him so fun. Belligerence, I've got 2 in here. We are running blue. Sometimes we need to swing for more than that. Scouting Mission, again, Overlord helps you draw some extra cards. There's other things in here like Pocket Processor. Scouting Mission, you don't mind pinging one of your guys to draw 2 to help find what you need. Catch Off Guard, like I said, it doesn't have the green pip that Smelt does, but it not being technically a scrap, I think, is a big help. So I think I'd drop the Smelt over the Catch Off Guard. Infiltrate is another card that I'd consider cutting. I personally didn't play it a ton. When I did play it, it was generally because I knew my opponent likely had a Belligerence in hand. That's the thing that I'm targeting. There's other stuff that you might want to, not have to deal with either. But yeah, Infiltrate is there. It is something that I'm considering between these 2, what I'd end up cutting. I guess Infiltrate is nice in that, again, we're running a blue deck, and like I said, the Belligerences can be, eating up, instead of blocking for 6 with Overlord or something like that, reducing it down to 3. Infiltrate is just a lovely way to get rid of those. Sabotage Armaments, again, standard blue package. You don't want to deal with grenade launchers if you don't have to. And Hostilities, we've got 2 of that, of course, makes sense. And then the last secret action we have is Despite Any Difficulty. And this is a new one for ATP 3, and it's just great. It's essentially it's essentially Master Metallicato, but defensively. And because we are running a pretty mixed pip deck, you get a lot of value out of Despite Any Difficulty. I found that there are times when I'd rather have a Despite Any Difficulty in my hand than, like, say, an Hostilities. But yeah, so that is the actions. And like I said, there is a lot of interesting things you can do. Playing around with Highbrow, playing around with Overlord's flips to get exactly what you want. And that kind of leads into our upgrades. So again, Highbrow lets you bounce upgrades back and forth from the board. So Armed Hovercraft gets a lot more value than it normally does here. There are turns where you can play it, bounce it back with Highbrow, and then save it for the next turn, because the +1 doesn't matter all that much. But being able to ping a wide deck, a 3-wide deck, is terrific. Energon Axe, in general, your guys are living long enough to get value out of it. Handheld Blasters, we know what that does. Backup Beam. Overlord, again, when he attacks, he's got Bold One, he's got Focus One. You're trying to find these 3 cards. If, they're not in your hand and your graveyard, Backup Beam giving Overlord the Bold, even though we're in a blue deck, has helped him find, if I am flipping over 5 cards, 5 cards with Focus One, and I'm searching for the Bolt of Lightning, sometimes it's been that last card, and then just being able to, ping someone for 3, clean up a kill off the table is terrific. Scoundrel's Blaster sometimes gets sided out depending on who my opponent is, but again, it's a green pip weapon. It gives +2 Pierce 2 against Autobots, nothing wrong with that. Sturdy Javelin, again, part of that ranged package. Nightracer and Overlord can use that just fine. Nightracer being able to swing into who we have to swing into when we go second and still drop a Sturdy Javelin to get damage onto someone else important is terrific. The last weapon we have is Lock-on Lasers. This gets sided out if I'm not playing against something super big like Menasor, but it is a great card that just helps out when we are fighting those big opponents. Reflex Circuits, I found that there were certain matchups where this is great and certain matchups where it gets sided out. Again, you got 2 range characters, you're trying to protect Overlord. It just depends on if you're playing melee characters or not. The big one, another big one for Overlord, is Composite Armors. Again, we can play these when we're in bot mode, which is just fine. Boosting our defense, if Highbrow's in bot mode, we've got 6 defense base. Overlord is a tough nut to crack at that point. Crushing Size. Again, there are certain utilities, like if we're playing, especially in the mirror match, being able to Crushing Size our opponent's aura of dominance is just a terrific play. Drawing a card when we need to also helps. Energy Pack is really here just for if we don't have... It's a second aura of dominance that we can play legally. It helps Overlord stay alive longer. Not much to say there. The big one for me that's been clutch is Pocket Processor. Getting Pocket Processor onto, say, Highbrow early in the game, your opponent tends to, at least in the games I played, my opponent tends to focus on Overlord or Nightracer because they think that they got to kill Nightracer to help get rid of Overlord quickly. That extra card draw, again, getting Aura of Dominance, Bolt of Lightning, Leap of Faith into hand faster with more card draw, getting the great package of weapons and armors that we have in hand. That card advantage combined with the small amount of hand disruption we have in this deck really, really does help push things even further. And that's what I found, is that Overlord, it plays, it's a blue control deck, and it plays a battle of inches. You're looking for, getting the tools you need to really just limit your opponent's options so they're not able to play the weapons and things that they want while you're getting your Leap of Faith or something, just getting more plays in a turn, or actually, I guess average more plays in a game than your opponent does. And with the stats you've got on the table, that sort of thing wins you games. So that's the main board. Now let's talk about sideboard. So, sideboard, we can get rid of Highbrow and Nightracer. We can drop him. And we can bring in Soundwave. And this, to me, is really, really fun. You're going too wide here, but Soundwave and Overlord have this great synergy together, where Soundwave is pulling in KO'd Spy Patrol and Tape members, so you get them in your KO area. Now Overlord has, +4, so he's swinging base 9 plus whatever upgrades you got on him. And Soundwave has +3/+3, which is fantastic. They become very, very big hitters. This sideboard is extremely effective in the Omega Supreme matchup. Omega Supreme eats the main list alive. It's a very tough matchup against 3-wide against Omega Supreme. So I would almost say that if you're facing an Omega Supreme, just concede game 1 because it's going to be slow. It's control versus control. You need the time. Go to game 2, put Soundwave in, and you'll find that you're just able to take Omega Supreme apart. The other ones that this works well against are Megatron Living Weapon. You're too wide, so you can focus those hits on Megatron and get him off the table. And generally these guys are big enough with the, battle cards we've got to support them and keep them alive. Megatron's not able to one-shot them with crazy upgrade plays. It's a lot of fun to play. It's my preferred way to play is these two guys because they're just fun, but I think as a main board, it's just not a viable option. The rest of the sideboard we've got Disarms. Again, if you're facing Jetfire Stratagem or Living Weapon Stratagem, these are really, really big in preventing the upgrade plays that they want. Bashing Shield if you need to get rid of some armors. Another copy of Marksmanship. I tended to find that I was sideboarding this in because with Highbrow and Nightracer, I tend to find that I was leaving someone alive at 1 or 2 health. Being able to just pick them off, combine this with Sturdy Javelin and Bolt of Lightning to get those range damage has been a big help. I've got extra copies of Event Hostilities and Belligerence. I, again, sideboard as needed. Hollow Matter Projector. It's an armor. I tend to protect Overlord with it, but it can go wherever you want it to go. Magnetic Dysfunction Ray. Sideboard in when you're facing Autobots. Sideboard in when you're going too wide. It's, again, you're just taking damage, but you're dealing more than you're taking, and that's a fair trade. And then a second Lock-on Lasers if we are finding ourselves in a Menasor or Omega Supreme matchup. Lock-on Lasers is a really big help. And that's the list and the sideboard. It was a lot of fun. This event, I think, was really, really great. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing more. I think the next event is Junkion. I'm playing around with some lists for that. And I was hoping to share my last match of the event, but there were just some Discord problems that day. I didn't get good footage of it. I went 2-2 with this deck list. I think it's a strong list that I just needed to take some time to get more familiar with. I felt much more confident once I was past, the first couple matches. And it was a lot of fun. If you're not playing it, check it out. Overlord's awesome. Check out the Vector Sigma events. I hope to play against you guys. I played against some new players recently, and that was a ton of fun. And I hope to catch you all later. All right. See you, everyone. Bye.